Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Soft Power Project. Today, I wanted to talk about birthdays. Not the ones you feel celebratory, joyful, gratefulness. It's the one that you feel depressed, sad, guilty, and shameful for feeling this way. Because for the past 5, 7, I don't know how many years, it has been that case for me. And I used to feel so guilty of feeling that way because everyone is celebrating and being so grateful for life and celebrating milestones and getting so excited about celebrating for like an entire month. But it was really never that case for me. And as I grow older, I feel more and more guilty of not feeling that way. So today and this year, I decided to change it up a little bit. And I'm not going to overwrite how I feel, but I am going to look at it differently. But before I talk about how I do it, I just wanted to briefly talk about why I feel the grief. And I think it's probably very similar for a lot of you guys out there who are not exactly excited about your birthdays. So when we're starting over, when we are reinventing ourselves, we are also shedding so much of ourselves, our identities, the ways that we used to cope with things, the relationships that used to matter to us. And yeah, a lot of times we had to say goodbye to people and to things that used to matter and the things that kept us feeling safe and secured and accepted. So while doing that, grief ultimately will come. And the thing with grief is that it comes in different shapes and forms and in different time as well. It's never linear. You don't just get to process it once and then let it go and never thought about it again. Grief comes in layers and usually at times when you're not even expecting grief, such as birthdays. And a lot of times that make us feel different and we feel shameful about it. But that's the price we have to pay when it comes to reinventing ourselves, when we come to really dismantling everything that you used to believe in and then start all over again. When we say starting over, it's not just for starting over a career or a relationship. It's actually starting over for everything that you believed in, your nervous system, how you cope with things, your thought patterns and your belief system, and how you define self-worth. And now that we had dismantled everything, we can build again from a very solid foundation. But grief comes, and grief is a price that we have to pay for this process, this journey. For me, I grieve the time that I got divorced, especially the year and year after. You know, there were times where I had to cry. I cried on the floor to the point I cannot breathe anymore. I cried because I thought I failed myself or I failed my daughter. I thought I failed everything. But without divorce, I would never had started to look inwards and discover who I am and what I actually wanted and what matters to me and what are the relationships that are really good for me. So that's the grief that I am feeling in layers and layers. Even now, I know I already processed all of that and I'm not feeling grief. Like consciously, I'm not feeling the grief. I'm not feeling the sadness for my divorce. I'm actually really happy that I've done that. But there's also the things that's stored in our body and are stored in our subconscious and that we have to let go with time. And the second thing that I definitely grieve is the time that I had to go to court, or I get to go to court. But that wasn't something I enjoyed. In fact, I absolutely hated it for so many years. It was something that I felt so ashamed of, and I felt so stupid, or I feel just awful having to step into the court and all those feelings and negative emotion that comes with it. But without it, I would not have known how to speak up for myself, because I would always hide behind lawyers and people, hoping that everything will go away, hoping that everyone will just be happy. But because of custody battle, I got to learn, how to even deal with uncomfortable situation or confrontation. But I really grieve so much during that time, even till now, because I still have to go back to court once in a while. And I also grieve the little girl, Sherry, that used to think everything was about keeping peace for everyone, about pleasing others. And then she had to really understand how to deal with divorce and custody battle. But despite everything, she decided to glue herself back with gold. I grieve a lot, especially on birthdays, because birthdays are usually the time that you celebrate milestone. And for me, it was a lot of shedding. But the beautiful thing about grief and experiencing grief is that you have to learn how to move forward and move out of it. You don't want to live in grief. You want to move out of it. You want to move forward. And this is something that I definitely learned from a lot of the guests on the show. And they talk about how they deal with grief. And a common thread that I found is that they feel the grief. They allow themselves to feel it, but they expose themselves to different opportunities and people and things that excite them. So there is always something that they look forward to, something that they can grab onto. So while they grieve, they can also hope. And both things can exist at the same time. So I decided that this year I wanted to reframe it. So I don't want to override my grief. Instead, I want to honor it. I bought a cake for myself, and my favorite kind of cake, I love chocolate. So I got a chocolate cake. I got some rainbow colored candles, and I lit the candle, and each of them represent the grief that I talked about and how I want to honor the grief. So instead of wishing for the next year, I did this for myself and myself only, simply just to grieve and honor the grief that I experienced. And the funny thing is, once I did that for myself, and you can see that on the reel on my Instagram, I felt way lighter and I felt so free, because the most important thing is that I took away that shame. I took away that guilt. And I know that I can connect with someone, you that are listening or watching, that it's okay to feel that way. And as soon as I felt that, and as soon as I honor my grief, I knew I get to celebrate my birthday. But the point is that you don't have to if that's not where you are at. And you can feel how you wanted to feel on your birthdays. You definitely don't need to jump into, how society defines birthdays, how you have to celebrate and go out and drink and clubbing and all that. You don't have to. Do it your way. But remember to honor it And remember to honor yourself for going through all these hardships, but you're still here. And that's a really big deal. So today I wanted to say happy birthday to me and everyone who is having a hard time or is on this journey. Anyone that feels so lonely, feels so uncomfortable. But knowing that, hope it's there. It's out there. I just want you to know you're not alone. I'm here for you. And happy birthday and happy new year. I'll see you soon in 2026. Bye, guys.